Hey everybody, this is Steve DeBaun. I'm the designer for Ars Victor, and I'm showing off the VASSAL module here that we're releasing, and going through a game that I played with Mike Bott, one of our veteran playtesters. So here you should be seeing the Ars Victor VASSAL module. VASSAL is a program that lets you play board games online with other people. There's no AI. You can't play against the computer, and it doesn't really like handle the game rules for you. But some of the stuff I programmed in does some housekeeping and automates some of the simple tasks. But basically, think of it like virtual board and pieces. You still need to know how to play and how to implement the rules, but you don't have to actually break out the board, and you don't have to go to somebody's house. You can play with somebody who lives 2 hours away. So here's VASSAL module. I'm playing as red. Mike is playing as blue. As you can see, you've got the main board here. You've got some UI components. These are not obviously in the actual board game, but this is stuff that just makes it easy to keep track of things. In the VASSAL module, you need the space for it. So the first thing you do is you've got these little setup markers over here, and I'm going to just play through this recorded game. The first thing we do is we move our starting tokens that you see this area over here. There's this sort of setup track with a red and a blue token, and each player, as they move their tokens through this track, various things are popping up, like their hands are popping up in the recruiting window, which is hey, this thing right here. This pops up automatically when you go to the recruit spot, so you'll note that now that they're in recruit, both players are in recruit. They start popping units on. So since I'm playing as red, I don't see what blue is putting in his reserve. I see how many units he's picking, but I don't see which ones they are. I'm actually AFK while Mike is building his army here. And then I come back from AFK and I start building my guys. So you can see, now I know that probably in the video these are going to be impossible to see, but you can zoom in quite a bit. Let me zoom in a bit here just to show you. Hey, there you go, and you can see when you hover over things. Oh, is the hovering not working? So the hovering's not working in this recording mode apparently. But when you're playing, oh here, there it goes. The hover pops up the full size thing, and when you're playing, it's actually pretty easy to tell what things are. So here's me finishing my reserve, and then when we finish reserve, we move to the draw hand spot and draw our initial hands, and that's accomplished through a right-click menu here. There's a draw initial hand option, which feeds 5 cards into your hand. Now hands, I'll show you my hand. I can't see Mike's hand, but here's your hand window. And this, as a player, this would automatically pop up, or this automatically pops up when you go on draw hands. But so here's the red hand that I drew through that initial draw command. It's actually quite a nice initial hand there. And we'll put this a little off to the side here so we can still see what's going on. Actually, we'll close this for now. Let's look at the armies we picked here. So I picked out an assault, 2 brutes, a cavalry with my HQ, and 2 lancers and a 2nd cavalry. Mike went with 3 medium infantry, a jump, a cav, a lancer, a brute, and an assault. So he did a mixed army, sort of focused around a core of medium infantry and flexibility everywhere else. And I went with this sort of top-heavy, a pair of brutes, and assault, 3 10-point units in my lineup. I guess Mike has 2, and then 2 cavs and 2 lancers. Now, there's another window that pops up when you're a player. That's this scouting window, and that's got all the map tiles in them. So the players are now dragging the map tiles to the center. I won the initiative and chose to attack, so Mike is placing the first map tile, and I get to do my vanguard first and move first. So he has to place the first one in the center there. You can flip them, you can rotate them, as you can see him doing, and then we alternate. So I'm going to speed through this and just kind of talk about the decision making here. So I was trying to keep things, at least on the flanks here, the left and right, you can see I managed to get heavy terrain areas, and that's because I've got 2 brutes, and I have a suspicion that brutes are kind of overpowered, so I was trying to play them to their max here. And by clogging up the terrain, I really give myself a little bit of an edge on the playing field, especially because Mike has 1 all-terrain unit. That's just his brutes. So we finished the scouting here, and that's that. And then on the Vanguard, so I placed the 4 on the board, and that's my setup. And I think at this point I actually looked at my hand and tried to figure out what I could play. And you know, I'm kind of red heavy, and I made the decision that, yeah, you know, I started out putting the blacks on that flank, and then I changed my mind and put the blacks on that flank and the reds on the other one, because I wanted to push on my left flank first. Or sorry, my right flank, his left flank. So yeah, I finished my Vanguard. Mike then placed his Vanguard with a brute, a medium, a lancer, and a jump. So just kind of a mixed setup there. Committed his brute to his right side, at which point I knew I was hoping to have some sort of advantage on the left side, because of my brutes there and his lack of all terrain on that flank. And he picks his banners. I have no idea what his hand is at this point. And we go to our first turn. So as a player, all you have to do is right click on the card, and you select the play command card option, and that plays the card automatically, updates how many command points you have available. Oh yeah, also let's look at how much glory we started with here. It auto calculated that based on our units that started in reserve. I started with 18 glory, and Mike started with 20 glory. So basically even. So yeah, I opened up with the 7 diamonds. My first moves, I moved my brutes up, I moved my lancers up to that cap point, and I brought in 2 more units here, and finished my turn. And actually I can cover this up now. Mike now opened up with a 6 of hearts and did a similar advancing. He at first thought he could move his mediums and take a shot at my brutes, but then realized that aim doesn't work if you move, so he backed that up a couple of times, and instead went with his lancers first and tried to drive me off the cap point. So as a player, you're clicking on right-clicking on the unit you want to attack, and you're selecting a target unit for attack here. It's a menu option that makes that red crosshair pop up on it, and it announces it in the log here. Now to roll, it's still kind of basic for rolling. There's nothing really fancy here. You're just clicking on these buttons up here, blue, red, and white, and the faces change up here, and the results show up down there. So Mike's rolling his white, blue, because he's attacking into impeding terrain. His lancers are only throwing a blue and a white, and he misses and misses. I then select him for counterattack, and we both whiff, and it's a lancer's lap fight. And then he ends up moving his mediums up there, brings on his cavalry headquarters, and advances him up the center. And that ends his turn. I start my turn, and because I have a capture point, I knock him down 1, so that's automatically done through these buttons over here that my mouse is waving over. I hope you can see this mouse cursor. This is going to be silly. On the red side, underneath the glory, there's a button that says capture point. There's 4 buttons there. So as red, if I click on the capture point button there, my enemy's glory goes down. If I have HQ advantage, I click on that, and the glory goes down. If I have headquarters on the capture point, I click it and it goes down too. And if I screw up at some point, I can always you can always undo with this button, but you can always give your opponent glory with +1 there. So yeah, so the lancers do their counterattack. They slap fight. I knock him down by 1 and start my turn. I play a 3 of diamonds, and I don't remember what I did here. Oh yeah, I moved up the brutes to try to knock off the lancers. I do 1 hit, but fail to push him off. Sadly, his counterattack does. Oh, the POW hit, right, because it's tough, because the brute's tough is a nothing. But he does a push, manages to push my brutes out. And I probably should have taken that hit with Standfast, but I didn't. Mike goes on with a 4 of diamonds. Um, Moves his cav up to the cap point. Does some fairly ineffective fire there. Well, it does a hit. I shoot back. I do a hit. Tries to push me with his lancers again. Another slap fight. I then go ahead with a 7 of hearts. I still hold the cap point, so I take the point for that. I tried to drive him back and managed to do a hit and a push. And he falls back, and I have my cav move up and try to drive him off there. He chooses to bug out. I do a hit on him anyway. And then he takes cover on the hit. And I manage to grab the cap. And then my headquarters moves up, and my intent is to try to get it over on that cap point at some point. Never quite works. Take a shot at the lancers, and 3 white dice because they're in cover, and I totally blow the shot. Mike then goes and decides to make things happen on the right flank. Moves his brutes up to advance on the cap point, and his jump over here. This move actually surprised the hell out of me. I did not see this coming. He moved his jump up, took the hazard roll. Hazard roll, anytime you jump infantry can move 2. They can jump away from people, they can jump over stuff, but if they jump into an area that has terrain, they have to make a hazard roll, and it's 1 white die per step. So that's running into trees and stuff. He and he passed his hazard roll with flying colors, then proceeded to take a shot at the cav. Whoops, I'm doing that backwards. There we go. And shot the shit out of him. That's right. Did yes, because I bugged out on that. So that would have been horrible. So he rolled 3 reds and got 2 hits, but since I bugged out, those hits missed, and I just took my 2 bug out fallbacks. And then he spent some more points to bring in his mediums and advance on his left, strengthen his left there. I continue to hold a capture point, so I'm still bleeding him. I've bled him down below my starting glory point, and I have to respond on my left flank there with the black units, and I'm moving up moved up the lancers and the brutes. Mike then pushed his advantage on the right, brought the brutes up. Figured, hey, I'm doing well enough with these guys, might as well move them to the center. Grabbed the center, took some shots at my cav, did a push on my cav, and took a shot with his medium infantry down here. He's trying to shoot my and manages to shoot my lancers out of the cap point. Yeah, that was sad. And I valiantly try to reclaim my left flank. Horrible attack here with my brutes on brutes, hot brutes on brutes action. I do 1 hit, and his counterattack manages to do 2 hits. That was not productive. Paying command points for my enemy to damage me more than I damage them is not a good plan at any time. The lancers I then fling towards the center, thinking, hey, this will work. Go after the lancers, get a hit and a push, go after the jump and get a hit and a push. He takes cover on the hit, falls all the way back to the forest. And then I reclaim the center there. That center keeps going back and forth. So it's his turn, and he actually controls a cap point, so he knocks me down 1. We're neck and neck at 17. And this gets interesting because we have, at this point, we both realize we have 2, or at least I realize, I think he does too, we have 2 10-point units here locked in life and death combat here. That could really easily get us within losing distance. Either one of us that could change this game. So Mike tries to drive the lancers off in the center, manages to not. My counter attack does a hit that he takes fallback on. Does 2 hits. He takes fallback on 1 of them. That's right. Those lancers were kicking ass. He brings his cav up, tries to threaten my HQ, misses. And I do 1 hit that he falls back on, or takes cover on rather, and then he tries to do some funny business with his. No, he just moves his lancers up to pin. That was right. That was another great move he did. So right there, my cavalry were poised to move into that capture point and then start bleeding him to a turn. He only had one command point left. He spent it simply to walk the lancers up and sit them there, not to attack with them, just to sit them there, so that my cavalry were pinned and can't walk away. That was a great move. So I start out with a 6 of clubs, yes, because I realized I needed to finish this over here and not let him pound me. Yeah, and that was a good attack. I did 2 hits and a push, and he took stand fast on the push, so he took the extra hit to get the counter attack, and did 1 hit. That turned the tables right there. And then my last surprise maneuver there is a beacon on the lancers, and they called in the assault infantry using insertion from reserves. Oh, and that was my yeah. I, however, did not insert quite as nicely. So you have to make a hazard roll as well, just like the jumps. When the jumps walked in or jumped into the forest, when assaults insert into forest, you have to make a hazard roll as well. And I rolled a hit on that, and that sucked. That was sad. One of my expensive assault infantry impaled on a tree. And I think that was the turn. Yeah. So drop the assault. So that cost moves for both the assault and the lancers. Neither of them get to attack that turn. But now I have the assault sitting in the center there. So Mike goes and he gets to bleed another cat point off me. He's going on, plays a club. His jumps, try to knock my lancers off the center cat point. Does a damage. The lancers have no choice but to take it. And my counterattack, I do a hit, and he takes it. And then he goes for the brutes and uses the brutes to drop in his assault. Instead of attacking, he tries to drop in his assault, or he does drop in his assault. And he brings his last medium on that flank. It's getting exciting. We have 2 units. The Glory is still 16 and 15, but we each have a unit that's a 10-point unit that's about to die. And this is the turn I have to make it happen. So I take a cat point, play the 6 of spades. Immediately, let's do this jobber right here. Hot brute on brute action again. And I push and hit, and that does him in. Dead brute. Walk onto the cat point. And then try to drive his mediums back with my assault. Get 2 hits. Mike takes them and gets a hit. So the hit is a red regular hit, and he's a tough, so he doesn't take it. The push counts, and he pushes. And then Mike takes his turn, goes to finish off the brutes, and fails. And the counterattack ends up doing what? A hit, a regular hit. Sorry, yes, a blue hit, which is what it takes on the assault there, and he falls back on it. So that was amazing. I didn't expect those brutes to survive another turn. And then Mike brings his mediums up to support the center. And I'm making a last push on this side. So that 10-point kill, by the way, if you notice, the Glory automatically went down. So that became just the game's almost over here. I push the lancers off with the brutes. Bring my other lancers up to basically just to pin down his medium infantry. I didn't want his medium infantry to be able to shoot or move without pushing through that lancer, and camped my cavalry headquarters unit on the cat point. And it's the last turn of the game. Mike finishes off. So basically, Mike has 3 glory, and if he doesn't knock off 2 of these 3, I have all 3 cat points. I'm knocking him down 2 for this one, 1 for this one, and 1 for this one. So he has to knock off 2 of these cat points. Knock me off 2 of these cat points. I don't think there's any way he could have done it. But simply to make it not a completely humiliating loss, he does the final attack there, wipes out my brutes, knocks me down 10 glory at least to make it a closer loss there. I take my turn, and it ends the game. So that right there is the VASSAL module, and a walkthrough of a quick game with me and Mike. That was a really exciting game. There were several turning points there that it could have gone either way. There were a couple interesting decisions on both sides. The army mixes were fun. Um, and so, yeah, that's the Vassal module. That's the game. If you got any questions, don't forget to check us out, arsvictor.com. We also have we're using the forums at Board Game Geek. Well, we'd love to see people post there. If you've got videos, if you've got games, share your stories, share your Ars Victor games. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.